So in my role as a business consultant for Dassault System, I'll talk a little bit about the company later, it's not so important. I'm often asked, here's a business challenge today. What can you do to help us address the issue? I would say about a third of the time, we may not have the right solution yet. It's pretty much one of a kind, or first of a kind, we have to co-develop with a client together. So when we work in that situation, I like to look outside our retail industry to look for inspiration. So you have heard earlier a different speaker talking about the importance of consumer experience. In the retail world, if you talk in particular about at the physical store, I think we have moved beyond that transactional relationship. You know, I'm here, there's one product I want to buy, I grab the product I pay, and thank you very much, I'm out there. Most retailers already, have a pretty advanced thinking in terms of the importance to create the right consumer experience, both offline and online, and thinking that through as one end-to-end consumer journey. I don't know if you've seen this picture before. It may give you a clue because in the background you can see there's a control tower of an airport. So when I think about consumer experience, there's one example that came to my mind. Now, oftentimes we don't think about what? You don't go to airport for consumer experience, you know? But more often than the time, airport is the last place you want to go to even spend time. You want to go there, catch a flight, you're out of there. But this is something that I thought would be quite interesting to share with you in terms of what they're doing. I'm showing this not because I'm Singaporean, but I just think it's exciting. It's Changi Airport in Singapore. So I think us in the retail, we have to look at retail consumer experience beyond transactional relationship. And I think entertainment has got to be an important part of it. So here I want to start with the first one, which is to outplay with the consumer experience at retail. So here's a bit of statistics, a data point, just to support what some of my friends have already mentioned earlier. So here it says that this is from the Walker, it's a research firm, by the way. By 2020, which is 2 years down the road, a year next year, in fact, customer experience will overtake price and product as a key brand differentiator. We know that already. It's nothing new, but this again coming up from research. And it says 86% of the buyers will pay more for a better customer experience. So they use customer and consumer experience kind of interchangeably. And another data point coming from Forrester Research, again on 2018, is look at 49% of retailers says improving the consumer experience is a top priority for the next 12 months. So here is a good example, right? Here's Cabela's. I don't know if you're familiar. It's an outdoor goods retailer in the US, very similar to REI. When I get into REI, I could get lost for hours, you know. My wife's not too happy, but I can spend hours in the REI store. Here, in case you don't know, they started selling fishing rod. That's where they started. They expanded into other outdoor categories, and of course, they have apparel, they have tent, they have different gears for the outdoor. So when you go there, it is the experience. When you go there, it is fun. It is far more than removed away from a transactional experience. Here's Adidas. So Adidas years ago came to us for a project. You know, they said some of the downtown stores in Germany in particular, they're not able to display the entire assortment, which is normal. We are constrained by the physical size of the retail store. So here we help them build a digital wall on your left here. So what you see on the right will be a certain assortment, but in a digital wall, there is in fact the entire assortment. There's limitless assortment. And because this runs on the cloud, anytime when you run short of the store, you can remove that. If you want to introduce new product, you can introduce that digitally as well. So we did an experiment. They took a small store as a pilot, and using the same store, we rebranded a little bit with the digital store. Within the same month, the month after, the sales went up by 40%. Because quite often we walk in, we see the same style, we like it, but it's not the color that we like. And more often than not, we just walk out. And here, you can see the style you want, you can see the colorways you want, you can place an order online, of course, or in the store. Here's another French company. We work on what we call Gentle Factory. Again, small store, but they want to have multiple touch points. We work with them on what we call the 3D visual merchandising. So instead of building a physical store, put the whole assortment together and try to tell the story, everything is all digital. So what they simulate digitally, they can then execute in a physical store on the right-hand side. So they have a new drops every 15 days or so. So when they have a new drops, they again re-simulate in the digital store, send out the merchandising guide. And every weekend, when they collect the point of sales data, the point of sales came back with the digital. We can see the product, which one sells well, which one is not moving fast enough. and then you can replay it on the VM, try to retell a different story. Here's Bath & Body Works. They work with us, again, on visual merchandising. Again, they simulate everything on 3D. And one application, in addition to what Gender Factory was doing, which is to deal with visual merchandising or digital world, do a digital twin store, they went one step further. They do what they call A/B testing. I think you're familiar with retail. You display it one way in one type of stores. You display another way in another type of stores. And they run through one weekend or 2 weekends, and you compare the point of sales data, and you see which one performed better. So here's what they do. They do A/B testing. And after a year, they have, in terms of increment in sales, just by doing A/B testing, went up to 5%. In terms of cost reduction, they removed about €1 million out from the cost, or US dollars out from the cost, simply because there's no more fixtures, no more handling of assortment. It's all done in the digital world. I would like to talk about in terms of customization and to personalize a product as well. Here's how to outplay some of your competitors that way. And here's a story that we will echo. It's a Danish footwear company. I don't know about you, but my left foot is about half a size bigger than my right foot. They're not exactly the same. And the arch is also a little different. So I end up buying essentially, a shoe that's slightly half a size bigger for my right foot, So here, Echo came up with a project. They said they want to customize the shoes, but in this case, for midsole only. So they have an innovation lab that they work with us, and this is what we came up with them.
With our project, 3D printing, data-driven design, I think we get it much closer to that.
What is so interesting on this project called QuantU is that it is really a paradigm shift compared to what you know about footwear.
Shoes are made for the average person, but no one is truly average. So through customization, we can provide a truly unique experience for each consumer. QuantU is a project that stemmed from the innovation lab of Echo. It stands for Quantified You. So what that is, it's data-driven customized footwear, which allows us to provide individual function in footwear for each person that purchases a pair of these shoes. So QuantU is broken down into 3 steps. The first step is the real-time analysis. That's done in store, where we analyze both the structure of a foot by scanning the feet of each individual customer. Through wearable sensors, we can analyze how someone walks and give a full picture of your unique walking pattern, your gait. So following this real-time analysis, that biomechanical data needs to be converted into this printable functional form. We've developed a learning algorithm that converts the biomechanical data into the functional form to be 3D printed later. 3D printed in silicon within a store in under 2 hours. With QuantU, we've provided a service that is simple, it's intuitive. As a consumer literally walks into the store, gets their feet scanned, walks for 30 seconds with wearable sensors, and within a couple of hours, they have a customized pair of shoes in their hands.
So this store now, we have one store currently going on in Tokyo, another one currently going in Paris. The picture that you see here is actually in Shanghai. We tested this concept in last November in Shanghai. So now they're doing a tour of major cities to kind of do a proof of concept. And in the case of Tokyo, it's interesting because it was supposed to be a 1-month project, but Isetan loved it so much in the store that they asked Echo to stay as a permanent project within the store. In fact, there's only one printer in the store, and they're not able to cope. So what you call the bandwidth right now is come down to the issue of printer. So it's been very, very well received by the consumer. They can walk in, they come back within 2 hours. If you don't come back, they send it to you, through courier, and you have a customized orthotics almost. I spoke briefly earlier about how to transform the sourcing business model to be able to sell the product before you even assemble the product. So we worked New Balance this years ago already. So to personalize the product here is actually a shoe for baseball. So you can pick obviously a low cut, you can change the mid cut, different plates on the bottom, and you can also change the different type of sole as well. So it's a pick and choose, you submit the order, only then they go ahead and assemble the product for you. So here is a sell before assemble business model. And here's on the right-hand side, these are the different options, different plate types that you can choose. You can certainly do it at the store level as well, and all you need is basically just an iPad to work. And here's a thought, here's another example. Again, they run this engine online as well. So I talk about moving on quickly now because I'm mindful of the time issue. How to outlast. Outlast means to be more sustainable in your business, in your product development exercises. So here, earlier we heard Paul mention about using digital prototyping for the apparel. Certainly you can do it for the physical product as well. So here's one example. Again, it's 3D design, 3D rendered in the real true-to-life image. Some of our clients now, they actually use this and go straight to the e-commerce site without having to have the actual prototype, no photo studios. It's all rendered, go online, etc. So here's another example of a rendered image. And obviously, this is in 3D. So you can rotate them, you can turn up and down, you can change the color and whatever else. Here's another example as well. Okay. So very quickly now, I want to talk about the last one, which is AI. Again, without going deep, because the next speaker will go much deeper and far more exciting. How to outwit a competition with the use of big data and analysis that come with AI. So here's the research coming from Forrester again. It says AI-driven companies will take about $1.2 trillion away from the competitors who are still working a traditional way. Traditional ways mean I don't really care about what the consumer wants. I think that's what they want based on my designer. I'll go ahead and produce, ship in bulk, etc. The smart ones are trying to capture what the consumer wants and try to use analytics to automate the process as much as they can. Here's an example of Amazon Go. I'm sure you've seen that already. And these are the kind of data we have right now from Capgemini in terms of percentage of retailers using AI. For pure play online retailers, obviously work largely on data, so they're more obviously, let's say, early adopters of some form of AI. You hear from the next speaker, the AI is a multi-faceted technology, so certainly these perhaps could be just more in the big data and analytics only. So brick and mortars, we are oftentimes, for those of pure physical store, they are somewhat behind, but certainly for those who do both channels already, they're a little bit more advanced. So here's a quick word about our company. I don't think many of you know about Dassault Systèmes, so let me quickly mention it. We're based out of Paris. We have about 16,000 employees worldwide. We're largely a scientific company. Of the 16,000 people, slightly 5,500 of us are R&D. So we take pride in our heritage in R&D. We came originally from the aerospace and defense. So our job in the past is a software company within an aerospace company before we got spun off 35 years ago. We have now about 230,000 enterprise customers worldwide with about 25 users, active users using our software. We're about 3.5 billion euro in revenue. We work with partners largely both R&D and resellers and school, close to about 13,000 partners worldwide. It's important for me as a company to have a purpose as well, for us as a company. Yes, do we want to make money for shareholders? Of course we do, but it's got to be more than making money. So our purpose was very simple. We try to provide businesses and people with a platform we call 3D Experience Universes to imagine a sustainable world capable of harmonizing the product, nature, and life. Now, it sounds pretty heavy, right? Harmonizing product, nature, and life. If I interpret in simple English, it's about sustainability. So with that, I'm quite pleased to share with you also that the corporate Knights, they rank corporation worldwide in terms of sustainability practices, and they put us #1 globally in 2018. Not just within our own practice, it's how our technology being used by our customers and that bring about sustainable practices as well. One example, no more sample, or fewer sample, fewer physical sample across all industries. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.